The clock read 12:01 a.m. when Angelo Russo's hand closed around my wrist. I should have seen it coming. The expensive suits, the way his men lingered outside the diner every Tuesday and Thursday, the $500 tips for a $12 meal. But I was drowning in my mother's medical bills, and desperation makes you blind to red flags waving right in your face. Time's up, Leah. His voice was silk over steel. My apartment door, the one I'd locked, bolted, and chained, hung open behind him. Two men in black suits flanked the entrance like sentries. I tried to pull away, but his grip was iron wrapped in Armani. "You gave me a choice," I whispered, voice shaking. "You said I had until midnight." Angelo's dark eyes held mine. For just a moment, I saw something flicker there. Regret? Obsession? Something dangerously close to madness? Then it was gone, replaced by cold, absolute determination. "I did give you a choice, Bellissima." His thumb traced my pulse point, feeling my fear. "You chose wrong." He lifted me into his arms like I weighed nothing, and as he carried me toward the door, I understood the truth. Angelo Russo didn't make offers. He made declarations. And 6 months ago, the moment I smiled at him over a cup of coffee, he'd already decided I was his. Welcome to the Diary of Hearts. If you're new, subscribe. I drop addictive Mafia romance stories every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and trust me, you won't want to miss one. Drop a comment. Where are you watching from? Now, let's get into this story. 6 months before Angelo Russo kidnapped me, he bought me coffee. Well, technically, I served him coffee. But looking back now, I realize he'd been buying me, piece by piece, smile by smile, from that very first Tuesday night. My life back then? God, it was a mess. Romano's Diner on 5th and Madison, this greasy little relic somehow surviving in a neighborhood being swallowed by luxury condos. I'd worked there 3 years. Double shifts. 7 days a week. Every single penny going straight to St. Mary's Hospital, where my mother was fighting stage 4 cancer with insurance that covered basically nothing. It was a Tuesday night. 7:58 p.m. The dinner rush had died down, leaving me alone to wipe tables and count tips that wouldn't even cover this week's medication costs. Then the bell above the door chimed. He walked in like he owned the place. And later, much later, I'd learned that he did. Had bought the entire building, the whole block, all to make sure I couldn't be evicted. But that night, all I knew was that a man in a suit worth more than my annual rent was scanning Romano's greasy interior like he was deciding whether to stay or burn it to the ground. "Sit anywhere you'd like," I called out, forcing brightness into my exhausted voice. He didn't hesitate. Walked directly to table 7, the corner booth with a clear view of the entire restaurant and both exits. I didn't know then that Angelo Russo never, ever sat with his back to a door. "What can I get you?" I approached with my pad and pencil, my customer service smile plastered on. "Black coffee. Tiramisu." His voice. God, his voice. Deep and accented with Italian that made every word sound like seduction. Like he was ordering something far more intimate than dessert. Then his eyes lifted to mine. Dark. Endless. Hypnotic. "And your name?" Not a question. A statement. Like he already knew he'd get what he wanted. Something in my stomach fluttered. I ignored it. Coffee and tiramisu, coming right up. The corner of his mouth lifted. Not quite a smile, but close. Smart girl. I'd replay that moment 1,000 times over the next 6 months. The way he said smart girl, like he already knew me. Like he'd been studying me long before he walked through that door. Because he had been. When I brought his order, his gaze followed my every movement. Not leering, memorizing. Like I was a puzzle he was absolutely determined to solve, and he had all the time in the world. The check came to $12.47. He left $600. My hands froze on the bills. "Sir, this is way too much." "It's not enough." He stood, buttoning his suit jacket with this casual, elegant precision that made my mouth go dry. Those dark eyes locked onto mine again. "What time do you finish, Leah?" My name tag. He'd read my name tag, but something in his tone, the way he said my name like he'd practiced it, Made me think he'd known it long before seeing it pinned to my stained uniform. That's really not appropriate, I managed. Appropriate. He tested the word like it was foreign to his tongue. Took a step closer, not threatening but overwhelming. The space around him seemed to compress, pulling all the oxygen toward him, making it hard to breathe. I wasn't asking to be appropriate. He was close enough now that I could smell his cologne. Sandalwood and something darker. Something that made my pulse race. I'll see you Thursday, Leah. Not a question. A certainty. Then he was gone, disappearing into the night like smoke, leaving me standing there with $600 in tips and a heart racing for reasons I didn't want to examine. Thursday came. He sat at table 7, ordered black coffee and tiramisu. Left $600. Never broke eye contact the entire time, and that became our pattern. Tuesday and Thursday, 8 p.m. exactly. For 6 months. He never asked inappropriate questions. Never touched me, beyond those accidental hand brushes when I placed his coffee down. Brushes that sent electricity shooting up my arm every single time. He just watched. With an intensity that should have terrified me. It didn't. Maybe I was too exhausted to be afraid. Maybe I was too lonely to care. Or maybe, and this is the part that scares me even now, maybe I recognized something in his eyes. Not danger. Desperation. Like he needed those Tuesday and Thursday nights as much as I'd started craving them. Around month 3, things shifted. He started asking questions. Personal ones. How's your mother's treatment going? I froze mid-pour, coffee hovering over his cup. How did you know about my mother? You mentioned her. He said it so casually. 3 weeks ago. You told a customer at table 4 that you were tired because you'd been at the hospital all night. 3 weeks ago. Table 4. A conversation he shouldn't have even been able to hear from table 7. You have very good hearing, I said carefully. His dark eyes held mine. I pay attention, Leah. Especially to things that matter. The way he said it, things that matter like I mattered, it made something in my chest constrict. Month 4, he noticed I was limping. New shoes. My head snapped up. How did you? You're favoring your left foot. And those aren't the sneakers you usually wear. He gestured to my feet like memorizing my footwear was perfectly normal behavior. It should have creeped me out. Instead, I felt seen. When was the last time anyone really noticed me? When was the last time I was more than just a uniform serving coffee? Month 5, everything changed. I showed up for my shift, and Sal pulled me aside immediately, his face pale. Leah, sweetie, your mother's hospital just called. Her bill was paid. All $47,000. Paid in full by an anonymous donor. The world tilted. I knew. Immediately, I knew. That Tuesday, I didn't even let Angelo sit down. I confronted him the second he walked through the door. You can't just pay off my mother's medical debt. He looked at me, really looked at me, then calmly walked to table 7 and sat down like I hadn't just accused him of anything. I don't know what you're talking about. Angelo. Black coffee, Leah. Please. His tone was polite. His eyes held a challenge. Push me. See what happens. My hands shook as I poured his coffee. When I brought the check, I found $10,000 tucked under his plate. $10,000. I snapped. Chased him into the parking lot like a madwoman. Stop. You can't keep doing this. He turned. Suddenly we were inches apart in the dim streetlight. And up close, God. Up close he was overwhelming. Tall, broad-shouldered, smelling like that sandalwood cologne mixed with something that made my head spin. Can't I? His voice was quiet. Dangerous. It's too much. I can't accept. Then consider it payment. His hand reached up slowly. So slowly I had time to step back, to pull away, to run. I didn't. His fingers tucked a strand of hair behind my ear. The first time he deliberately touched me. His touch was warm, gentle, devastating. Payment for what? I whispered. For 6 months of the only genuine smile I've seen in a decade. His thumb traced my cheekbone, and I forgot how to breathe. For making Tuesday and Thursday the only days I look forward to. For existing Leah Holmes, when my world is full of people who don't deserve to. My heart was hammering so hard, I was sure he could hear it. What do you want from me? Something fierce, something almost frightening, flared in his dark eyes. Everything. One word. That's all it took to change everything. He stepped back, breaking whatever spell had wrapped around us. But I'm a patient man. I can wait. Wait for what? His smile was small. Sad. For you to see me the way I see you. He turned and walked away, disappeared into an expensive black car, leaving me standing in that parking lot with my skin tingling and my world tilting on its axis. I was in so much trouble. I just didn't know how much trouble. Not yet. The next 6 weeks were torture. No, not torture. Torture would have been easier to understand. This was something else entirely. Angelo kept coming. Tuesday and Thursday, 8 p.m., table 7. Always the same order. Always those massive tips I stopped trying to refuse. Always that dark, intense gaze that made me feel like the only person in the universe. But now there was something else. Tension. The kind that made the air crackle between us. The kind that had me lying awake on Tuesday and Thursday nights, replaying every conversation, every accidental touch, every moment his eyes lingered just a second too long. My manager, Sal, cornered me around week 2. Leah, honey, we need to talk about your regular at table 7. What about him? Sal glanced around nervously, then lowered his voice. That's Angelo Russo. You understand who that is, right? A generous tipper? A criminal, sweetheart. Sal's face was grave. I've lived in this neighborhood 40 years. I know the families. The Russos own this city, the politicians, the police, the whole damn infrastructure. Angelo's the heir. The next on. He gripped my shoulder. Men like that? They don't do anything without a reason. You don't want his attention. But I already had it. And God help me, I didn't want to give it back. Things escalated so gradually I didn't notice until I was drowning. Week 3, I mentioned, casually, to literally no one, that my building's heat was broken again. I was just talking to myself while wiping tables. Next day, the heat was fixed. Building-wide renovation. Courtesy of new building management. I knew who that new management was. Week 4, a drunk customer grabbed my wrist. Hard enough to bruise. I pulled away, handled it professionally, didn't make a scene. The customer never came back. 3 days later, Sal mentioned the guy had moved out of state suddenly. I didn't ask questions. Week 5, my mother called from the hospital, crying with joy. Her oncologist, who'd been pessimistic for months, suddenly had access to an experimental treatment. Cutting edge. Expensive. Fully covered by a private research grant. I knew. Every single thing, I knew. Angelo was orchestrating my entire life from the shadows, and I should have been terrified. I wasn't. Last Tuesday, the Tuesday that changed everything, Angelo didn't eat his tiramisu. Just pushed it aside with those elegant fingers and folded his hands on the table. Leah, come sit. I'm working. Sit. Not a request. A command wrapped in silk. The diner was empty except for Sal in the back. Just me and Angelo, and 6 months of unspoken tension crushing the air between us. I slid into the booth across from him. My heart was hammering so loud, I was sure he could hear it. You work 70 hours a week at a diner that underpays you. His voice was clinical, matter of fact, like he was reading a report. You live in a studio apartment that, despite my interventions, is still barely habitable. Your mother's treatment is bankrupting you even with the help I've provided. His dark eyes locked onto mine. This ends now. I don't understand. He slid something across the table. A key card. Black. Expensive looking. Embossed with an address I recognized. Russo Tower, the most exclusive building in the entire city. My mouth went dry. Move in with me. 3 words. That's all it took for my world to stop. I'll take care of everything, he continued like he was discussing the weather. Your mother's treatment. Your debts. Your future. Everything. I couldn't speak. Couldn't breathe. Couldn't process what he was saying. Angelo, you barely know me. I know you take your coffee with 2 sugars and 1 cream. He leaned forward, elbows on the table, caging me in with his intensity. I know you're terrified of thunderstorms. I know you hum Moon River when you think no one's listening. I know you give your lunch to the homeless man outside every Wednesday. His voice dropped lower. I know your shoe size, your favorite color, your dream of traveling to Italy someday. I know you bite your bottom lip when you're nervous, like you're doing right now. My teeth released my lip immediately. I know everything, Leah, and I want to give you the life you deserve. This is insane, I whispered. Yes. No denial. Just brutal, devastating honesty. It is, but I'm asking anyway. He stood, leaving the key card between us like a bomb. You have until midnight to decide. My voice came out strangled. And if I say no? Something dark and possessive crossed his features. Something that should have sent me running. Then I'll have to find other ways to convince you. He left without another word. Without his tiramisu. Without looking back. And I sat there staring at that key card like it could detonate at any moment. Maybe it could. Maybe it already had. 11:30 p.m. I stood outside my apartment building, that key card burning a hole in my pocket, phone pressed to my ear. He did what? Maya's shriek nearly deafened me. I know it sounds insane. Sounds insane? Leah, this is insane. Some rich, mysterious man who's been obsessed with you for 6 months, who apparently knows everything about you, just asked you to move in with him. Her voice climbed higher. This is literally how every horror movie starts. But my mom... Your mom would rather die than have you sell yourself to some creepy stalker. The word stalker hit like ice water. Because that's what this was, wasn't it? Angelo had been watching me. Learning me. Orchestrating my life without my knowledge or consent. You're right, I said, my voice steadying with conviction. You're absolutely right. This is crazy. I'm not going. Thank God. Maya's relief was palpable. You had me worried there for a second, babe. We hung up. I climbed the 3 flights to my apartment. The elevator had been broken for 4 months. Inside, the radiator clanked uselessly. I could literally see my breath in the frigid air. I made tea with my last tea bag. Sat on my thrift store couch that sagged in the middle. Stared at that key card glinting on my coffee table like temptation incarnate. Midnight. You have until midnight. My phone buzzed. St. Mary's Hospital. My heart stopped. Miss Holmes? This is Nurse Patricia. Her voice was gentle. Too gentle. Your mother's asking for you. She's asking if you can come see her soon. The way she said soon, that careful, loaded word, made my blood freeze. I'll be right there. My mother looked impossibly small in that hospital bed. She'd lost at least 70 pounds in 2 years. Her skin was paper-thin, stretched over bones that seemed too prominent. But when she saw me, her eyes, those same warm brown eyes I'd inherited, lit up. Baby girl. Hi, Mama. I took her skeletal hand, so careful of the 4 lines. The doctor came by today. Her voice was barely a whisper. Said the treatment isn't working anymore. They're talking about hospice, sweetheart. No. We'll find something else, I said desperately. There's always another treatment, another trial. Leah, baby, stop. Her grip tightened with surprising strength. I'm tired. So tired. I'm ready to go. Don't say that. But you're not ready. That's what keeps me up at night. Tears gathered in her faded eyes. You're 26 years old, and you've sacrificed everything for me. No college. No relationships. No life. Just this endless, exhausting sacrifice. My throat was too tight to speak. You're my mother. I finally managed. And I'm telling you to live. She cupped my face with her frail hand. When I'm gone, and honey, I will be gone soon. Promise me you'll take chances. Let someone take care of you for once. Stop carrying the weight of the whole damn world on your shoulders alone. Tears spilled down my cheeks. Promise me, Leah. I promise, Mama. I stayed until she fell asleep. then stumbled back through the freezing December night, her words echoing in my head like a mantra. Let someone take care of you. Take chances.
Live.
My phone showed 11:52 p.m. 8 minutes to decide. I pulled out the key card, turned it over in my trembling hands. Maya was right. Accepting Angelo's offer was insane. Dangerous. Possibly the worst decision I could ever make. But my mother's words, when had anyone ever taken care of me? When had I done anything but survive? 11:57 p.m. What if Angelo was genuine? What if this was my one chance at a life that wasn't just drowning? 11:58 p.m. But what if he was dangerous? What if this was a trap? 11:59 p.m. I set the key card down on my coffee table. Decision made. I wouldn't go. Couldn't go. 12 a.m. Midnight. The sound of my apartment door opening made my head snap up so fast my neck cracked. The door I'd locked. Bolted.
Chained.
Angelo Russo stood in my doorway, backlit by the hallway light like some dark angel. Behind him, two men in suits, Marco, who I recognized from the diner parking lot, and another man I'd never seen. Time's up, Leah. His voice was soft. Absolute. My heart stopped. Then started again, racing like a jackhammer. You can't just break into my apartment. He stepped inside. The door clicked shut behind him with a sound like finality, like a coffin closing. I gave you a choice. He moved with that fluid, predatory grace I'd watched for 6 months. Midnight came and went. You chose to stay in this freezing box rather than accept my help. His dark eyes swept over my apartment, the peeling wallpaper, the broken radiator, the sagging couch, the bare refrigerator I knew he could see from where he stood. Disappointment flickered across his features. And something else. Hurt. So now I'm making the choice for you. That's not how choices work. My voice came out higher than intended. It is when you're too stubborn for your own good.
He was closer now.
I hadn't even seen him move. Pack a bag, Leah. Or don't. Everything you need is already at the penthouse. Angelo, this is kidnapping. Call it what you want. He stood before me now, so close I had to crane my neck to meet his eyes. So close I could smell that sandalwood cologne. You're coming with me. Tonight.
Now.
The only choice you have left is whether you walk out with dignity, or I carry you. You're insane. Yes. No denial. Just brutal, devastating truth. I'm obsessed with you, Leah. I've been watching you for 6 months, learning you, memorizing you, preparing for this exact moment. I've killed men who looked at you wrong. I've orchestrated your entire life from the shadows, protecting you from threats you never even knew existed. His hand reached up, cupping my face with shocking gentleness. I'm a monster, Bellissima. I've done terrible things. I'll do worse things to keep you safe. But I'm your monster now. And monsters protect what's theirs. I should have fought. Should have screamed. Should have called the police. Though some part of me knew the police answered to Angelo Russo. But his touch was warm. His words were insane but honest. Brutally, devastatingly honest. And God help me, part of me had been waiting for this. Waiting for someone to finally take the weight. To choose for me when I was too exhausted to choose for myself. Let someone take care of you. My mother's words. If I go with you? My voice was barely a whisper. I want conditions. His eyes flashed with surprise. Then something that looked dangerously like satisfaction. Name them. My mother. Best facility in the city. Best doctors. Experimental treatment. Whatever it takes to keep her alive. Already arranged. He said it like it was nothing. Like rearranging my dying mother's entire medical care was just another item on his to-do list. The transfer happens tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. She'll have Dr. Catherine Chen, best oncologist in the country. Private suite. Treatment plan that most people would sell their souls for. My throat tightened. How long have you been planning this? 6 months, Bellissima. His thumb stroked my cheekbone. Since the moment you smiled at me. I've been preparing for this.
For you.
For us. I couldn't find words. Obsessive. Controlling. Insane. He supplied them for me, no shame in his voice. But also effective. Your mother will live, Leah. I'll make certain of it. Because keeping you means keeping the people you love safe and cared for. Relief so intense it hurt flooded through me. My mother would live. After 3 years of drowning, someone had thrown me a lifeline. Even if that someone was a dangerous, obsessive criminal. I want to be able to leave, I said, testing his limits. If this doesn't work, if I can't handle your world, I need to know I can walk away. His jaw clenched. A muscle ticked in his cheek.
No.
Then I'm not going. We stared at each other, the immovable object meeting the unstoppable force. Finally, Angelo spoke. Each word deliberate, like it physically pained him. 3 months. His hand remained on my face, thumb still stroking gently. Give me 3 months to show you this life. To show you what being mine means. His eyes closed briefly. After that, if you truly want to leave.
He stopped.
Swallowed hard. I'll let you go. He was lying. I could see it in the rigid set of his shoulders. In the possessive grip on my face. In the way his other hand had fisted at his side. Angelo Russo would never let me go. But 3 months was better than being carried out tonight. 3 months to figure out who this man really was. 3 months to understand what I'd gotten myself into. Or 3 months to fall completely. Fine, I whispered. 3 months. Smart girl. His smile was pure possession. Pure triumph. He stepped back, offering his hand like a gentleman, as if he hadn't just broken into my home and given me an ultimatum disguised as a choice. Shall we? I looked around my apartment one last time. The broken radiator that had kept me cold for 4 months. The peeling wallpaper I'd stopped seeing years ago. The empty refrigerator, because I sent every penny to the hospital. The crushing, suffocating loneliness of 3 years compressed into 400 square feet of misery. Then I looked at Angelo's outstretched hand. At the dangerous, beautiful man who'd watched me for 6 months and decided I was worth destroying boundaries for. Worth obsessing over. Worth keeping. Let someone take care of you. I placed my hand in his. His fingers closed around mine, warm, strong, absolutely certain. Like a shackle. Like salvation. Maybe both. No regrets, Leah, he murmured as he led me toward the door. I promise you that. I didn't answer. Because I already had regrets. I regretted that part of me had been hoping he'd come. That part of me wanted to be stolen. That part of me had been waiting, secretly, desperately, for Angelo Russo to stop asking permission and just take what he wanted.
Take me.
Marco held the door open. The other guard had already disappeared, probably checking the hallway, ensuring no witnesses. As we stepped into the corridor, I took one last look back at apartment 3B. My prison. My safety. My past. The door closed with a soft click. And just like that, Leah Holmes, exhausted waitress, dutiful daughter, invisible woman, ceased to exist. I was Angelo Russo's now. Whatever that meant. Whatever that cost. God help me, I was his. The penthouse occupied the entire 57th floor of Russo Tower. I'd seen the building from my apartment window for 3 years, this gleaming spire of steel and glass that dominated the city skyline like a middle finger to everyone who couldn't afford to look at it. Never imagined I'd be standing inside it. The private elevator opened directly into his home. Our home. I corrected myself, then immediately felt insane for thinking it. Christo. I breathed. Floor-to-ceiling windows showcasing the city glittering below, like scattered diamonds. Modern furniture that probably cost more than most people's houses. Art I recognized from textbooks, originals not prints. Everything was black, white, and chrome. Beautiful and cold, and utterly intimidating. Your room is this way. Angelo's hand pressed against the small of my back, guiding me down a hallway lined with more expensive art. My room? I'd assumed. Well, I didn't know what I'd assumed. He opened double doors, and I forgot how to breathe. The bedroom was larger than my entire apartment. A California king bed with silk sheets the color of champagne. A walk-in closet I could see through another set of doors. French doors leading to what looked like a private balcony. The closet is fully stocked, Angelo said from behind me. Clothing, shoes, everything in your size. Bathroom through there. If you need anything at all, press the intercom button by the bed. I turned to face him. Where's your room? His smile was dark, knowing. Across the hall. Close enough to hear if you need me. He stepped closer, and my breath caught. Far enough to prove I meant what I said. You're not a prisoner here, Leah. Just what am I, exactly? Mine. He said it simply. Like stating a fact of nature. Like saying the sky is blue or water is wet. Get some rest. We'll talk in the morning. He moved toward the door. Angelo? He turned, eyebrow raised. Thank you. The words felt inadequate. For my mother. For this. Something softened in his expression. Don't thank me yet, Bellissima. You haven't seen the full cost of being mine. Then he was gone, closing the doors with a soft click, leaving me alone in a bedroom that cost more than I'd earn in a lifetime. I should have checked if the door's locked. Should have tested whether I was truly free or just in a prettier cage. Instead, I found myself in the bathroom, staring at a rainfall shower and a jacuzzi tub that could fit 3 people. When was the last time I'd had reliable hot water? The shower was heaven. Expensive products that smelled like lavender and honey and things I couldn't even name. Water pressure that actually worked, not the sad trickle I'd grown accustomed to. Heat that didn't run out after 5 minutes. I stood under that spray until my skin turned pink and my fingers pruned, washing away 3 years of exhaustion and grime and desperation. When I emerged, skin flushed, wrapped in a towel so soft it felt like sin, I found a nightgown laid out on the bed. Silk.
Ivory.
Long sleeves and a modest neckline, elegant, not provocative. Still, wearing it felt like accepting his claim on me. I put it on anyway. The alternative was my work uniform, which smelled like grease and defeat. Sleep should have been impossible. I'd just been kidnapped by an obsessive criminal. I should have been planning escape, calling for help, something. Instead, I sank into that cloud of a bed, silk sheets cool against my clean skin, mattress cradling my exhausted body like I was something precious, and passed out instantly. For the first time in 3 years, I slept through the night. No alarms. No nightmares about unpaid bills. No waking up in a panic about medication costs. Just peace. I woke to sunlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows and the smell of coffee. Rich, dark, expensive coffee that made my mouth water. I sat up, disoriented.
Where? Right.
The penthouse. Angelo. The kidnapping. You're awake. I screamed. Angelo sat in an armchair near the balcony doors, perfectly dressed in another expensive suit. Reading a newspaper like this was completely normal. Like watching a woman sleep was just another Tuesday morning activity. You were watching me sleep? I clutched the sheets to my chest, even though the nightgown was completely modest. Ensuring you didn't climb out the balcony. He folded the newspaper with precise movements. You're 57 floors up, but desperation makes people creative. That's creepy, Angelo. I'm aware. No apology in his tone. Just acknowledgement. Breakfast is ready.
Get dressed.
I don't have. 3rd drawer. Casual clothes.
Of course.
Because he'd thought of everything. I grabbed jeans and a sweater, both fitting perfectly because of course they did, and changed in the bathroom. When I emerged, Angelo was waiting in the hallway, studying his phone. He looked up, and something heated flashed in his eyes as they swept over me. Better, he asked. I feel like a doll you're dressing up. You're not a doll. His voice dropped lower. Dolls are fragile. Pretty, but empty. He stepped closer and my pulse jumped. You're real, Leah. The only real thing in my entire world. That's why I want to dress you, feed you, take care of you. Not because you're a doll. Because you're mine. The dining room table was set for 2. And by set, I mean it looked like something from a magazine spread. Fine china. Crystal glasses. Real silverware. Espresso in actual espresso cups. Fresh fruit arranged like art. Pastries that probably came from some bakery I'd never be able to pronounce. Eggs and bacon and more food than I'd seen in months. Sit. Angelo pulled out my chair. I sat, because my legs had stopped working somewhere between your mind and this ridiculous display of breakfast. I'm not hungry. You're always hungry, Leah. You've just trained yourself to ignore it. He sat across from me, fixing his own espresso with practiced ease. You weigh 15 pounds less than you should. You eat once a day on a good day. This stops now. You can't just order me to eat. I can. I am. His tone brooked no argument. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Every day. This is not negotiable. Part of me wanted to argue, on principle, to assert some kind of control in this situation where I had none. But the eggs smelled amazing, and the pastries were calling my name, and I was so tired of being hungry all the time. I picked up my fork. Angelo's smile was pure satisfaction. Good girl. We ate in silence for a few minutes. Well, I ate. He watched me eat while sipping espresso, and somehow that should have been uncomfortable, but wasn't. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I don't even know who you are. Not really. He set down his cup. Then let me introduce myself properly. My name is Angelo Russo. I'm 32 years old. I've been running the Russo family operation since I was 25, when my father decided he was too old for the stress and retired to Sicily. His voice was matter-of-fact. Clinical. I control this city, Leah. The politicians answer to me. The police look the other way when I ask. The judges rule in my favor. Every illegal operation from here to the coast either pays me tribute or ceases to exist. He leaned forward, elbows on the table. I've killed 17 men with my own hands. Ordered the deaths of countless more. I've orchestrated events that would make you sick if you knew the details. I've broken laws, destroyed lives, and built an empire on blood and fear. His dark eyes held mine.
I'm not a good man, Leah. I'm not even a decent man.
I'm a monster in an expensive suit. But for you, his voice softened. For you, I'll be good enough. I'll protect you, provide for you, worship you. I'll give you everything I'm capable of giving. It won't be normal. It won't be safe. But it will be real. I should have run screaming. Should have been horrified, disgusted, terrified. Instead, I picked up my fork and took another bite of eggs. Okay, I said quietly. Angelo's eyebrows rose. Okay, you're a criminal, a killer, a monster. I met his eyes. But you've helped more people in 2 days than any legitimate system helped me in 3 years. You saved my mother when hospitals were ready to let her die. You fixed my building's heat when my landlord didn't care. I swallowed hard. You saw me. When I was invisible to everyone else, you saw me. I did, he said softly. I do. So yeah.
Okay.
You're a monster. I took a sip of espresso, rich and perfect and probably cost more than my daily food budget. But you're my monster now. And maybe that's enough. Something blazed in Angelo's expression. He stood abruptly, moved around the table, and cupped my face in his hands. You're going to ruin me, he whispered, forehead pressed to mine. Completely and utterly destroy me. Good, I whispered back. Then we'll be even. He kissed my forehead, gentle, reverent, devastating. Then released me and returned to his seat like nothing had happened. But something had happened. We'd just made a deal with each other. He'd be my monster. I'd be his ruin. And whatever came next, we'd face it together. Even if it destroyed us both. After breakfast, Angelo led me to his office. Massive mahogany desk. Wall-to-wall bookshelves filled with leather-bound volumes. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city he claimed to own. Everything about the room screamed power and danger and control. He poured himself whiskey from a crystal decanter. At 9 a.m. We need to establish boundaries, he said, not looking at me. I almost laughed. Boundaries? You kidnapped me. I prefer aggressive relocation. That ghost of a smile touched his lips. Sit, Leah. I sat on the leather couch, arms crossed defensively.
Fine.
What are these boundaries? He leaned against his desk, whiskey in hand, studying me with those dark, intense eyes. Rule 1. You don't leave this building without security. Ever. So, I am a prisoner. You're protected.
His jaw tightened.
My enemies don't know about you yet, but they will. The moment they realize you matter to me, and they will realize it, Bellissima, you become a target. The easiest way to hurt me is through you. The way he said it like it was obvious, inevitable, made my stomach clench. How many enemies do you have? Currently? 3 major families, 2 federal agencies, and a handful of independent operators who'd love to see me dead. He said it casually, like discussing the weather. So yes, you need security. Not because you're a prisoner. Because I won't survive losing you. The honesty in his voice stole my breath. Rule 2, he continued. You don't contact anyone from your old life without my approval. No phone calls, no emails, no social media. You're isolating me on purpose. I'm protecting you. He set down his glass. Everyone you know becomes leverage, Leah. Your friend Maya? If my enemies discover she matters to you, they'll use her. Torture her for information. Kill her just to hurt you. His eyes went cold. I've seen it happen. I've done it to my enemies. I won't let it happen to you. Then maybe you shouldn't have dragged me into your world. Too late. His voice was steel. You've been in my world since you smiled at me 6 months ago. I just made it official. I wanted to throw something at him. What's rule 3? You don't ask about my business. You don't enter this office when I'm working. You don't speak to my associates unless I'm present. Anything else, Don Russo? Sarcasm dripped from my words. His eyes flashed dangerously. In 2 strides, he crossed the room and gripped my chin, forcing me to meet his gaze. You can hate me, Leah. You can rage and fight, and make my life hell. But you will not use that tone when discussing your safety. Let go. When I'm finished, his thumb traced my lower lip, the gesture contradicting his harsh grip. Rule 4. You sleep in your room. Across the hall from mine. You don't come to my bedroom unless invited. My breath caught. I wasn't planning.
Good.
His voice dropped lower, dangerous and seductive simultaneously. Because the moment you step into my bedroom, all these civilized rules disappear. I've controlled myself for 6 months, Bellissima. My restraint has limits. Heat flooded my face, my body, places I didn't want to think about. I'm not afraid of you, I whispered. You should be. He released me abruptly, stepping back. I'm not the hero in this story. I'm the monster who stole you. The sooner you accept that, the easier this becomes. I stood, facing him across his expensive office. And what do I get? Do I have any rules you have to follow? Surprise flickered across his features. Name them. You don't hurt my mother. Whatever happens between us, however this ends, she's off limits. Agreed. He nodded immediately. Your mother is being transferred to Memorial Hospital this afternoon. Private suite. Dr. Catherine Chun is the best in the country. Experimental treatment starts tomorrow. My throat tightened. I want to see her. Tomorrow. With security.
Today. Now. Leah.
That's my rule, Angelo. I stepped closer, refusing to back down. You don't get to isolate me from my dying mother. If you want me to stay, if you want me to even try to make this work, I see her today. We stared at each other. A battle of wills between the monster and the waitress. Finally, he pulled out his phone. Marco. Prepare the car. Full security detail. We're going to Memorial Hospital. He hung up and met my eyes. Happy. Getting there. You're infuriating. You kidnapped me. I'm entitled to be infuriating. His smile was genuine this time. Not dark or possessive, just warm. Fair enough. In the elevator down to the parking garage, Angelo's phone buzzed. He answered in rapid Italian, harsh, commanding tones I couldn't understand but felt in my bones. When he hung up, his expression was grim. Problem? I asked. Nothing you need to worry about. Rule 3 works both ways, apparently. I crossed my arms. You don't talk about your business, and I don't ask questions. Exactly. What if I want to know? He looked at me, really looked, and for a moment I saw something vulnerable in his eyes. Then I'd have to tell you things that would change how you see me. And I'm not ready for you to look at me like I'm a monster yet. Angelo, you literally told me at breakfast that you've killed 17 people. Telling you is different from showing you. His voice was quiet. I can handle your theoretical disgust. I don't think I could handle seeing fear in your eyes when you look at me. The parking garage opened to reveal a black SUV surrounded by 4 men in suits. Marco stood by the rear door. This was my life now. Armed guards and bulletproof vehicles, and a man who killed people, but was afraid of me being afraid of him.
Yeah.
Angelo caught my hand before we reached the car. Thank you. For what?
For fighting me.
For demanding to see your mother. For not making this easy. His thumbs stroked my knuckles. I don't want a doll who obeys without question. I want you. Fire and stubbornness and all. You're insane. We've established that. He opened the car door. But I'm your insanity now. Memorial Hospital looked more like a 5-star hotel than a medical facility. Glass atriums. Marble floors. Actual original art on the walls, not generic landscape prints. Even the smell was different. Not antiseptic and death, but fresh flowers and expensive air fresheners. Angelo's security detail formed a perimeter around us as we walked through the lobby. 4 men in dark suits, earpieces, moving with military precision. People stared. Of course they stared. Angelo commanded attention like gravity commanded orbit. Impossible to ignore, dangerous to approach. This is excessive, I whispered as we entered the elevator. This is Tuesday. His hand rested on the small of my back, warm and possessive. You haven't seen excessive yet. The elevator opened to the VIP wing, top floor, naturally. The nurse at the station smiled warmly as we approached. Miss Holmes, your mother has been asking about you. She's in excellent spirits this morning. Excellent spirits. Words I hadn't heard associated with my mother in 2 years. Dr. Chin just finished rounds, the nurse continued. The treatment plan looks very promising. Promising. A word I'd forgotten existed. Angelo squeezed my hand. I'll wait here. Take your time. You're not coming in? This moment is yours. Something soft, almost vulnerable, crossed his features. I'm not selfish enough to intrude. Not yet, anyway. I entered room 5701 alone and stopped breathing. My mother looked better. Not healthy, she was still painfully thin, still pale, still obviously sick. But she was sitting up, color in her cheeks, wearing a real nightgown instead of a hospital gown. And the room. God, the room. Private suite with a sitting area. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Fresh flowers on every surface. Medical equipment that looked brand new, top of the line. Yeah, my mother's face lit up. I ran to her, careful of the 4 lines, and hugged her gently. She smelled like lavender soap instead of antiseptic. What happened? She pulled back, studying my face with those sharp eyes that saw everything. They moved me this morning. Said all my bills are paid, every single one. That I'm starting some experimental treatment tomorrow that normally costs $500,000. Her grip tightened. The doctor called it a miracle. So tell me, baby girl, what did you do? I met someone. The lie, or half-truth, came easier than expected. He's wealthy. He wanted to help. Her eyes narrowed. My mother might be dying, but she wasn't stupid. Nobody helps this much without wanting something in return. He wants to date me. And you want to date him? I thought about Angelo's hands caging me against the wall. His confession of obsession. The way he'd watched me sleep. His rules that were really just ways to keep me trapped in his world. I'm figuring that out, I said honestly. My mother studied my face with unnerving intensity. You look different. Different how? Rested. Her thumb stroked my cheek. When's the last time you slept through the night? Last night, actually. Then this man, whoever he is already good for you. She settled back against her pillows. Baby girl, I need you to listen to me. I'm going to fight this cancer with everything I have. I'm going to do this experimental treatment, and I'm going to try. But if I lose… Mom, if I lose, she continued firmly, I need to know you're not alone. That someone's taking care of my girl. Because you've sacrificed everything for me. Your 20s, your dreams, your life. Guilt twisted my stomach. You're my mother. And I'm telling you to be selfish for once. Her eyes were fierce. If this man can give you the life you deserve, don't be too proud to take it. Don't end up like me, full of regrets about roads not taken. He's complicated, I said carefully. All good men are.
Good.
If only she knew. Is he kind to you? She asked. I thought about Angelo buying me clothes in my exact size and style, making sure I ate breakfast, arranging the best medical care for my mother without being asked, giving me rules that were really just ways to keep me safe in his dangerous world. In his way, I said softly. Yes. Then give him a chance. Promise me. I promise, Mama. We talked for another hour. She told me about Dr. Chun, about the treatment plan, about the nurses who didn't treat her like a charity case. Hope radiated from her, a commodity that had been scarce for so long. When I finally left, my eyes were damp, but my heart was lighter than it had been in years. Angelo stood exactly where I'd left him, scrolling through his phone while 2 security guards flanked him. He looked up as I approached. How is she? Better. Hopeful. I stopped in front of him. Thank you. For this. Don't thank me. His expression was carefully neutral. I didn't do it to be noble. I did it to keep you. I know. I reached out, surprising both of us, and touched his hand. But it still matters. Something shifted in his face, surprise morphing into something warmer, more vulnerable. Come, he said, lacing his fingers through mine. I want to show you something.
What?
A piece of my world. Since you're part of it now, you should understand what that means. Dread and curiosity warred in my chest. Is this going to terrify me? Probably. His smile was sharp. But you're stronger than you think, Leah Holmes. I've been watching you survive for 6 months. It's time you learn to live. The car drove us to the waterfront, specifically to a massive warehouse that looked abandoned from the outside. Looked being the operative word. Inside, it was a command center. Dozens of people working at computers. Massive screens displaying what looked like surveillance feeds, security maps, financial data. The hum of technology and hushed conversations filled the air. This wasn't just a business. This was an operation. A man in his 50s approached immediately. Expensive suit, graying hair, sharp eyes that assessed me in one glance.
Boss.
We weren't expecting you. Marco, this is Leah. She's under my protection. Highest priority. Angelo's hand pressed against my back. Leah, this is Marco Donati. My second in command. Marco's eyes widened fractionally, the only sign of surprise he allowed. Then he nodded, respect in his expression. Miss Holmes, it's an honor. I had no idea what the appropriate response was. Angelo guided me through the warehouse, explaining in broad strokes. Import-export operations, which I understood meant smuggling. Security consulting, protection rackets. Entertainment venues, money laundering. He spoke about criminal enterprise like it was legitimate business. And technically, I supposed much of it was legitimate businesses used to hide illegitimate ones. You're not afraid, Angelo observed as we stood in his glass-enclosed office overlooking the operation floor. Should I be? Most people are, when they see the scope of what I control. I looked at the screens, at the dozens of people whose livelihoods depended on Angelo's illegal empire. Thought about the legal landlord who'd let my building's heat break. The legitimate hospital that had been letting my mother die because she couldn't pay. I grew up poor, Angelo. I know the world isn't black and white. I turned to face him. The legal system failed me at every turn. But you've helped more people in 3 days than any legitimate system helped me in 3 years. So no, I'm not afraid of your empire. I'm just trying to understand it. His expression was unreadable. You're justifying my criminality. I'm acknowledging reality. I stepped closer. You're a criminal. But you're my criminal now. And you've proven you'll take care of what's yours. Careful, Bellissima. His voice dropped dangerously low. You're starting to sound like you don't hate me. I don't hate you. The admission surprised us both. I should, but I don't. Angelo moved closer, backing me against the glass wall. Below us, his empire hummed with activity. Above us, the weight of his gaze pinned me in place. What do you feel, then? His hands braced on either side of my head, caging me in.
Confused.
Scared. I force myself to hold his gaze. Safe. For the first time in years, I feel safe. And I hate that you're the reason why. Why do you hate it? Because safe isn't supposed to come from dangerous men who kill people and run criminal empires. My voice cracked. Safe is supposed to come from good people doing good things. But good people let my mother suffer. Good people ignored me while I drowned. And then you, this terrible, violent, obsessive man, swooped in and fixed everything. His thumb traced my jaw. I'm not a good man, Leah. But I'm good to you. Isn't that what matters? Is it? Because I'm terrified that I'm becoming someone who thinks that's enough. You're not becoming someone else. His forehead touched mine. You're becoming who you always were beneath the exhaustion and desperation. Someone strong enough to survive my world. Someone brave enough to look at a monster and see the man underneath. A knock on the glass interrupted us. Marco stood outside, tablet in hand, expression carefully neutral. Angelo stepped back, though his hand remained on my waist. Come in. Marco entered, shooting me an apologetic glance before addressing Angelo. We have a situation. The Marchetti family is making moves on the East Side ports. Angelo's entire demeanor shifted from seductive to lethal in a heartbeat. Explain. As Marco detailed some territorial dispute, I watched Angelo transform into the Mafia boss he'd told me about. His voice went cold, his eyes calculating. He issued orders that I suspected would result in violence. This was the real Angelo Russo. Not the man who brought me breakfast or worried about my safety, but the crime lord who ruled through fear and force. Leah, Marco will drive you back to the penthouse, Angelo said, not looking at me. I have business to handle. What kind of business? His eyes met mine, and I saw the truth there. Violent business. The kind that reinforced his control through bloodshed. The kind you don't ask about, he said gently. Rule 3, remember? I should have pushed, demanded answers. Instead, I nodded. Because Angelo's rules weren't just about control. They were about protection. The less I knew, the less danger I was in. And the less I knew, the easier it was to pretend the man I was falling for wasn't a monster. Marco drove me back in tense silence. 2 guards in the front, me alone in the back, trying not to think about what Angelo was doing, who he was hurting, whether he'd come home with blood on his hands. At the penthouse, I paced my room, tried to read, failed miserably. Hours passed. Night fell. Still no Angelo. At midnight, I heard the front door open, heard his office door close, heard the sound of breaking glass. I shouldn't have gone to him, but I did. His office door was closed but not locked. I opened it slowly. Angelo stood by his desk, head bowed, hands braced on the mahogany surface. Blood stained his white shirt collar, not his own, I realized. Someone else's. I told you to stay in your room, he said without looking up. I heard glass breaking. And you thought you'd check on the monster? His laugh was bitter. Smart, Leah. Real smart. I entered anyway, closing the door behind me. Are you hurt?
No.
Then whose blood is that? You don't want to know. I crossed to him slowly. His shoulders were rigid with tension. Whatever had happened tonight, it had cost him something. Angelo, look at me. He didn't move. Please. Finally, he lifted his head. And I saw it, not guilt exactly, but weariness. The weight of violence and power, and doing terrible things for what he believed were necessary reasons. I eliminated a threat, he said flatly. 3 men who thought they could challenge my territory. They're dead now. Because of me. By my order. I should have been horrified. Should have run. Instead, I closed the distance between us. Are we safe? Am I safe? Yes. Then, that's what matters. Cristo, Leah. He gripped my arms. I just told you I killed people and you're asking if you're safe? Yes. I placed my hand over his heart, feeling it race beneath my palm. Because you're my monster, Angelo. And monsters protect what's theirs. He pulled me against him so suddenly I gasped, his arms wrapping around me like I was an anchor in a storm. You're going to ruin me, he whispered into my hair. Completely destroy me. Good. I held him back, this dangerous man who'd stolen me. Then we'll be even. We stood there in his office, him covered in someone else's blood, me accepting it, and I realized the truth. I was already his. Mind, body, and terrifyingly heart. 3 weeks into my 3-month deadline, I'd fallen into a routine that felt dangerously like domestic bliss. Angelo left for business each morning. Though business meant crime and violence, I tried not to think about too hard. But he always came home for dinner. We'd eat together, talking about everything except his work. He'd tell me about growing up in Sicily. I'd share stories about my childhood. And slowly, the monster was becoming human, which terrified me more than anything. On a Tuesday, exactly 1 month since my kidnapping, Angelo surprised me at breakfast. Tonight, we're going out. I looked up from my espresso.
Out.
Like, outside. A charity gala. One of my legitimate businesses is sponsoring. He slid a black credit card across the table. Take Maria shopping. Get whatever you want for tonight. Maria? My head of household. She's been managing the penthouse for 8 years. He sipped his coffee. Full security detail, obviously. Obviously. 6 hours later, I stood in a designer boutique trying on my 10th evening gown while Maria, a stylish woman in her 50s with kind eyes and a sharp wit, offered opinions in rapid-fire Italian accented English. The red one, Miss Leah. It will drive him absolutely insane. That's not the goal. It's always the goal with men like Mr. Russo. Her smile was knowing. I've worked for him 8 years. Never seen him look at anyone the way he looks at you. We're not, it's complicated. Love usually is. She zipped up the red dress, stunning, floor length, with a slit up the thigh that felt daring and perfect simultaneously. I barely recognized myself in the mirror. When had I last worn something beautiful just because I could? That evening, Angelo's expression when I emerged from my room made the entire shopping trip worthwhile. He stood frozen in the hallway, dark eyes traveling from my face to my heels and back, like he was memorizing every detail. Cristo, he breathed. You're going to cause a riot. Heat flooded my cheeks. Too much. Not enough. He closed the distance between us, adjusting a strand of my hair with gentle fingers. Never enough. He looked devastating in his tuxedo, sharp, dangerous, absolutely magnetic. Ready. He offered his arm. Ready as I'll ever be. The gala was at the Castellano Hotel, all crystal chandeliers and champagne, and wealthy people whose donations funded children's hospitals. The irony wasn't lost on me that Angelo's illegal empire was funding legal charity. He introduced me as his girlfriend to politicians, business owners, socialites. Everyone smiled, shook my hand, asked polite questions. And I played the role perfectly, smiling, charming, pretending I hadn't been kidnapped a month ago. For 3 hours, I was just Leah Holmes, girlfriend of Angelo Russo. Not his captive, his girlfriend. And the terrifying part? It felt right. Around 10 p.m., I excused myself to the restroom. The ladies' room was empty, all marble and gold fixtures, and the kind of luxury I was slowly getting used to. I was washing my hands when the door opened behind me. A man stepped in. Wrong room. Had to be wrong room. But the way he looked at me, cold, calculating, predatory, made my blood freeze. You're Angelo's new pet, he said in accented English. Italian. Leah Holmes, yes. Every instinct screamed danger. Wrong bathroom. Men's is across the hall. I know exactly where I am. He moved closer. I backed against the sink. My boss, Matteo Marchetti, wants to send Angelo a message. About respecting boundaries. About knowing his place in our city. I don't know what you're. His hand shot out, gripping my throat. Not enough to choke. Not yet, but enough to terrify. You're the message, Bella. Angelo thinks he's untouchable? We'll show him what happens when he gets distracted by pretty things. The door burst open. Angelo stood there. And I'd never seen such rage on a human face. Behind him, 3 of his security guards, but he didn't wait for them. He crossed the distance in a heartbeat, grabbing the man by the throat and slamming him against the wall hard enough to crack tile. Remove
your
hand. Each word was a death sentence. The man's grip loosened on my throat, but not fast enough. Angelo's fist connected with his face. The sound of breaking bone filled the elegant bathroom. Angelo, don't. I started, but Marco appeared, gently pulling me toward the door. Let's give the boss a moment, Miss Holmes. He's going to kill him. Yes. Marco said it like discussing the weather.
He is.
And Matteo Marchetti will receive his message loud and clear. In the hallway, I collapsed against the wall, shaking. Through the door, I heard sounds of violence. Breaking bones. Muffled screams. Then silence. Angelo emerged moments later, straightening his tuxedo. His knuckles were bloody. His eyes were still that cold, lethal black. But when he saw me, something shifted. The monster receded, replaced by desperate concern. Did he hurt you? His hands cupped my face, turning my head to check for injuries with shaking fingers.
No.
You got here in time. I should have been faster. I should have sent someone with you. I should have. Angelo. I placed my hands over his. I'm fine. You're not fine. You're shaking. He pulled me against his chest, arms wrapping around me like he could shield me from the entire world. This is my fault. My world put you in danger. What happened to him? I asked into his shirt. The man? Angelo pulled back, meeting my eyes. Do you want to know? I thought about that hand on my throat, about what would have happened if Angelo hadn't arrived. No, I whispered. I don't. Something fierce and possessive flared in his expression. We're leaving.
Now.
The ride home was silent. Angelo held my hand the entire time, thumb stroking my knuckles in a soothing rhythm. I could feel the tension radiating from him, barely controlled violence looking for an outlet. At the penthouse, he led me to the living room and poured us both whiskey with hands that weren't quite steady. Drink. I drank. The burn helped ground me. I'm pulling you out of public appearances, Angelo said, already pacing like a caged animal. You're too exposed. Too vulnerable. You're locking me up? I'm protecting you. By making me a prisoner again? By keeping you alive. His shout echoed in the high-ceilinged room. Then he visibly controlled himself, hands clenching and unclenching. Leah, that man was going to hurt you. Possibly kill you. Just to send me a message. That's my world. That's what being with me means. I know. Do you? He stopped pacing, meeting my eyes. Because you've been living in this bubble for a month. Shopping trips and charity galas and pretending I'm not a monster. But tonight, you saw the truth. You felt it. I've always known the truth. Knowing and experiencing are different. His voice cracked. I'm giving you an out.
Right now.
I'll set you up somewhere safe, somewhere far from here. New identity, new life. You can walk away. My heart hammered. What about the 3-month agreement? Fuck the agreement. He moved closer, eyes blazing. I won't have your blood on my hands. I love you too much to let you die for me. The room went silent. What did you say? I whispered. Angelo closed his eyes. When he opened them, they were raw with emotion I'd never seen before. You heard me. Say it again. I love you. His voice was broken, desperate. I'm obsessed with you. Addicted to you. Completely destroyed by you. I love you, Leah Holmes. And that's why you need to leave. Before my love gets you killed. I stood on shaking legs. Crossed to him. What if I don't want to leave? Then you're insane. Maybe. I framed his face with my hands, forcing him to look at me. Or maybe I'm falling in love with the monster. His breath hitched. Don't say that unless you mean it. I mean it. And I realized it was true. Somewhere between the kidnapping and the breakfast routines, between his protective rage and vulnerable confessions, I'd fallen completely. I love you, Angelo Russo. The criminal. The killer. The man who watches over me and memorizes my coffee order and burns down the world to keep me safe. All of it. All of you.
Leah.
I kissed him. Cut off whatever argument he was forming with my mouth on his, my fingers in his hair, my body pressed against his like I could merge us through sheer will. He kissed me back like a drowning man finding air. Desperate, consuming, worshipful. His hands cradled my face like I was something precious, even as he kissed me like he might never get another chance. When we broke apart, both breathing hard, his forehead dropped to mine. No more running, he said. No more running. You're mine.
Completely.
Forever. I know. Say it. I'm yours, Angelo.
Completely.
Forever. Something fierce and possessive blazed in his dark eyes. He lifted me into his arms, just swept me up like I weighed nothing, and my legs wrapped around his waist instinctively. Where are we going? I asked, though I already knew. My bedroom. He was already moving down the hallway. Where you've never been. Where I've wanted you since the moment I saw you. My heart raced. Angelo. If we do this, he said as he shouldered open his bedroom door, there's no going back. You understand. He set me down gently on his bed, massive, covered in dark silk sheets that probably cost more than my old apartment. I don't want to go back, I whispered. His eyes darkened with heat and possession and something that looked dangerously like reverence. Then you're mine, Bellissima. In every way that matters. Forever. I know. And I did know. Whatever happened next, whatever intimacy we were about to share, would change everything between us. Would bind us together in ways that went beyond his rules or my 3-month deadline. This was surrender. Complete and absolute. And I was ready for it.
He kissed me again. Slower this time. Deeper.
His hands found the zipper of my red dress, lowering it with agonizing slowness, giving me time to change my mind, to pull away, to say stop. I didn't. The dress pulled at my feet. His sharp inhale was gratifying. Christo, he breathed, eyes traveling over me with such intensity one felt it like a touch. You're going to destroy me, Bellissima. Good. I reached for his bow tie with shaking fingers. Then we'll be even. He caught my hands, bringing them to his lips. I need you to understand something. His voice was rough velvet. I'm not gentle. I'm possessive and demanding and… Angelo. I placed my hand over his racing heart. I don't want gentle. I want you. Something feral flashed in his eyes. Something that should have scared me, but instead sent heat pooling low in my stomach. Then you'll have me, cuor mio. All of me. He kissed me again as we fell together onto silk sheets that smelled like him, sandalwood and something darker, more dangerous. His hands mapped my body like territory to be claimed. Every touch deliberate, purposeful. Learning what made me gasp, what made me arch into him, what made me whisper his name like a prayer. Tell me what you want, he murmured against my neck, teeth grazing my pulse point. You. Just you. You have me. His fingers traced patterns on my skin that made me shiver. You've always had me. From the moment you smiled at me over coffee. Before you knew my name. Before you knew what I was. He pulled back, meeting my eyes. You own me completely, Leah Holmes. And now I'm going to show you what it means to be owned in return. And he did. With patience and passion. With intensity that stole my breath. With touches that were reverent and possessive all at once. He took his time learning me. Every sound I made, every place that made me gasp his name, every reaction that pleased him. Look at me, he commanded when my eyes fluttered closed. I want to see you. All of you. The intensity in his gaze stripped me bare more than any physical touch ever could. He saw everything. My fear, my desire, my complete surrender to this moment.
To him.
Bellissima, he breathed, voice wrecked with emotion.
Mia stella. Vita mia.
The Italian endearments washed over me like a benediction as we moved together, finding rhythm, finding completion, finding something that felt like destiny. When we finally shattered together, his name on my lips and mine on his, I understood the truth. I'd never been free. Not until I surrendered to him completely. I woke wrapped in Angelo's arms, morning sunlight painting gold across his olive skin. He was already awake, propped on one elbow, just watching me with an expression so tender it made my chest ache. How long have you been staring at me? My voice was rough from sleep. Hours. His fingers traced idle patterns on my bare shoulder. I'll never get tired of this view. Creep. You're creep. He leaned down, kissing me softly. Morning breath and stubble and absolutely perfect. You're monster. You're love. Whatever you want to call me. I'm yours, Leah Holmes. I cupped his face, thumbs stroking his jaw. Say it again. I'm yours. In Italian. His smile was pure warmth.
Sono tuo, cuore mio. Per sempre. What does per sempre man?
Forever. He kissed me deeper. You're stuck with me now, Bellissima. No escape. Who said I wanted to escape? Something vulnerable flickered across his features. You might. When the newness wears off. When you realize what forever with me really costs. I pulled him down until we were nose to nose. Angelo Russo, I walked into your world with open eyes. I chose this. I chose you. Stop waiting for me to run. I can't help it. His hand cradled the back of my head. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. And I've spent my entire life losing the things I love. You're not losing me. Promise. I promise. Forever.
Per sempre.
His kiss tasted like relief and promises and new beginnings. We stayed in bed for hours after that. Talking, touching, learning each other in ways that had nothing to do with physical intimacy. It was domestic. Normal. Perfect. Until his phone shattered the peace. Angelo checked it, and his entire body went rigid. Christo. What's wrong? He showed me the message. Photos of carnage, bodies, a compound in flames. And that's when everything changed. When I learned that loving a monster meant facing the monsters who made him. I woke wrapped in Angelo's arms, morning sunlight painting gold across the silk sheets of his bed. His bed. Where I'd spent the night. Where everything had changed. He was already awake, propped on one elbow, just watching me with an expression so tender it made my chest ache. How long have you been staring at me? My voice was rough from sleep. From other things. Hours. His fingers traced idle patterns on my bare shoulder. I'll never get tired of this view. Creep. You're creep. He leaned down, kissing me softly. Morning breath and stubble and absolutely perfect. You're monster. You're love. Whatever you want to call me. I'm yours, Leah Holmes. I cupped his face, thumbs stroking the sharp line of his jaw. Say it again. I'm yours. In Italian. His smile was pure warmth, genuine happiness that transformed his entire face.
Sono tuo, cuore mio. Per sempre. What does per sempre man?
Forever. He kissed me deeper this time. You're stuck with me now, Bellissima. No escape. Who said I wanted to escape? Something vulnerable flickered across his features. You might. When the newness wears off. When you realize what forever with me really costs. I pulled him down until we were nose to nose. Angelo Russo, I walked into your world with open eyes. I chose this. I chose you. Stop waiting for me to run. I can't help it. His hand cradled the back of my head, fingers threading through my hair. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. And I've spent my entire life losing the things I love. You're not losing me. Promise. I promise. Forever.
Per sempre.
His kiss tasted like relief and promises and new beginnings. We stayed in bed for hours. Not doing anything particularly interesting, just talking, touching, learning each other in ways that had nothing to do with physical intimacy. He told me about his childhood in Sicily. About his mother, who died when he was 12. About his father, who'd been cold and demanding, grooming Angelo to take over an empire built on blood. I shared my dreams of traveling, of seeing the Italy he described with such longing in his voice, of having a life that wasn't just survival. We argued playfully about breakfast. He wanted espresso and nothing else. I demanded pancakes. We compromised. He'd order both, and I'd try not to complain about his insufferable Italian coffee snobbery. It was domestic. Normal.
Perfect.
Until his phone shattered the peace. Angelo checked it, and his entire body went rigid. Cristo. What's wrong? He showed me the message. A photo. Compound in flames.
Bodies.
Absolute carnage. Text below. Marchetti problem solved. SR. Marchetti's operation was eliminated early this morning, Angelo said, voice tight. Every soldier. Every lieutenant. Matteo himself. He scrolled through more photos. This is a complete takeover. Is that good? Depends on who did it. More scrolling. Then he went pale. Actually pale.
No.
It can't be. Angelo, you're scaring me. He looked up, and for the first time since I'd known him, I saw genuine fear in his eyes. It's my uncle, Salvatore Russo. He's been in Sicily for 10 years, running the European operations. If he's back. Angelo was already moving, pulling on clothes with efficient, almost frantic movements. If he's returned to take back control of the American territories. What does that mean for us?
He stopped, turned.
I crossed back to the bed and gripped my shoulders. It means the real war just started. And you're now directly in the center of it. I don't understand. My uncle is the most dangerous man in the Russo family. He taught me everything I know about this life. About power, control, violence. Angelo's hands tightened on my shoulders. He's also ruthless in ways I've never been. If he's returned to challenge my position, he'll see you as my greatest weakness. And he'll exploit that without hesitation. Dread coiled in my stomach. So, what do? We fight. Together. He kissed me fiercely. I'm not losing, Ilya. Not to my uncle, not to rival families, not to anyone. You're mine, and I protect what's mine. And I'm not leaving you to face this alone. His smile was sharp, dangerous, and entirely mine. Then get dressed, cor mio. We need to move.
Now.
30 minutes later, I stood in the penthouse living room while Angelo barked orders into his phone. Marco and 4 other men had arrived, all wearing grim expressions. Double security on Miss Holmes, Angelo commanded. I want men on her 24/7. She doesn't move without protection. Boss, Marco interrupted carefully. We just received another message. He held up his tablet. Another photo. This time of my mother's hospital room. Empty. Undisturbed. Except for one thing on her bedside table. A black rose. A white card with elegant script visible even in the photo. Angelo's face went ashen as he read it. What does it say? I demanded, crossing to him. He turned the tablet so I could see. Welcome to the family, Nipote. Let's see if she survives it. Uncle Sal.
Nipote.
I whispered. Niece. Angelo's voice was dead calm. The kind of calm that preceded violence. He's calling you family. Claiming you as part of the Russo bloodline. His eyes met mine. This isn't a threat, Leah. It's a declaration. He's telling me that he considers you legitimate. Part of our world now. Is that good? Yes and no. Angelo pulled me against him. It means he won't kill you outright. You're under Russo protection now, even from him. But it also means he'll test you. Test us. To see if you're strong enough to survive this life. How do I prove that? By not breaking. By standing beside me when things get bloody. By becoming what you've already started to become. His hands framed my face. A queen to match the monster. Marco cleared his throat. Boss, there's more. Salvatore is requesting a meeting. Tonight. Neutral ground. He wants to meet her. Absolutely not. Boss. I said a no. Angelo's shout made everyone flinch. I'm not parading her in front of him like she's some trophy to be evaluated. Angelo. I placed my hand on his chest, feeling his heart race beneath my palm. Maybe we should go. You don't know what you're asking. Then explain it to me. He closed his eyes, visibly wrestling with himself. My uncle will test you, interrogate you, try to find weaknesses. He'll be charming and terrifying simultaneously. And if he decides you're not strong enough, if he thinks you make me weak instead of strong, he'll find a way to remove you from my life. And if we don't go, then he'll assume I'm hiding you because you're a liability, which makes the target on your back even bigger. I took a breath. Then we go. We face him together. And I show him that I'm not going anywhere. Angelo searched my face. You're sure?
No.
I smiled despite the fear coursing through me. But I'm yours, remember?
Per sempre.
That means facing your family, even the terrifying ones. Something shifted in his expression. Pride mixed with fear mixed with love, so intense it stole my breath. You're going to be the death of me, he whispered. Or your salvation. Both, probably. He kissed my forehead, then turned to Marco. Set up the meeting. 8 p.m. Tell my uncle I'm bringing my fidanzata. He wants to meet the woman who tamed Angelo Russo? Fine. But he'll do it on my terms.
Fidanzata.
I asked as Marco left to make arrangements.
Fiancé.
Angelo pulled a small black box from his pocket, the same box I'd glimpsed weeks ago. I was going to wait. Do this properly. But if we're walking into a room with my uncle tonight, I want him to see this on your finger. He opened the box. The diamond ring caught the morning light, throwing rainbows across his face. This isn't a proposal, he said quietly. Not yet. That comes when all this is over. When I can ask you properly without threats hanging over us. He took the ring out, holding it between us. But I want you to wear this tonight. I want Salvatore to see that you're not just some woman I'm sleeping with. You're my forever. Tears blurred my vision. Angelo, you don't have to say yes to forever right now. Just say yes to tonight. To standing beside me. To showing my uncle that the monster has finally met his match. I held out my right hand, the hand that would someday hold an engagement ring, but not yet. Not while we were still fighting for our lives. Yes, I whispered. To tonight. To standing beside you. To everything. He slipped the ring onto my finger. It fit perfectly. Of course it did. Angelo had probably known my ring size before I did. Whatever happens tonight, he said, pulling me close, remember that I love you. That everything I do is to keep you safe. That you're the best and most terrifying thing that's ever happened to me. I love you too, I said into his chest. Monster and all. Good. His arms tightened around me. Because you're about to meet the monster who made me. And after tonight, you'll understand exactly what you've signed up for. I stood in Angelo's arms, that ring heavy on my finger, and realized the truth. 1 month ago, I'd been a waitress drowning in medical debt and loneliness. Now I was about to walk into a room with one of the most dangerous men in the criminal underworld, wearing a ring that marked me as Angelo Russo's future, and I wasn't even scared. I was ready. Ready to fight for this life. For this man. For this dark, dangerous, beautiful future we were building together. The waitress and the monster. His obsession. His salvation. His forever. Whatever came next, meetings with terrifying uncles, wars with rival families, tests of strength and survival. We'd face it together. Because I'd stopped being a captive the moment I chose to stay. And Angelo had stopped being just a monster the moment he chose to love me. Ready? Angelo asked, pulling back to look at me. I looked at the ring on my finger, at the man who'd stolen me and made me his, at the dangerous, uncertain, thrilling future stretching before us. Ready, I said. And I meant it. They say you can't tame a monster. They're right. I didn't tame Angelo Russo. I just loved him exactly as he was. Darkness, violence, obsession, and all.
And he didn't save me.
He just gave me the space and safety to save myself. My mother's cancer went into remission 3 months after that first treatment. She lives in a beautiful facility now, surrounded by care that Angelo pays for without blinking. She knows what he is. She doesn't care. He looks at you like you're the sun, she told me last week. That's all that matters. The meeting with Uncle Salvatore?
That's a story for another time.
Let's just say I survived it. Impressed him, even. Enough that he returned to Sicily and left Angelo's American territories alone.
For now.
Because there's always another threat. Another war. Another test. But I stand beside my monster through all of it.
His queen.
His forever.
Is per sempre.
And every morning, I wake up in his arms and remember, I chose this. I chose him. And I'd choose him again. Every single time. And that's where we'll leave Angelo and Leah, in his penthouse, with 3 months to decide if love is worth the danger. If you watch this whole story without subscribing, you're lying to yourself about how much you need the next chapter. Just hit the button you know you want to. Here's my question. Would you have gone with Angelo that night? Taken his hand and walked into his world? Or stayed in that apartment alone? Drop your honest answer below. I read every comment. See you in the next story, assuming you subscribed.